Loud. Hey everyone, how are you? Ashley Amudzai here. I am so excited to bring to you guys another Thought Leader Thursday. You guys know I always feature the best of the best, and I am so excited for our guest today, Alicia Fricker. She is the happiness coach. She is a Reiki master and mindfulness teacher with a basis in Chinese medicine and Shiatsu. She has a very in-depth knowledge of the spiritual and psychic world and has been practicing for over 10 years. She uses her highly attuned intuition and has helped thousands of people tackle their hardest blocks and turn their life around in miraculous ways. Alicia, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited to be here, Ashley. I love you to bits, and I'm so happy to meet the rest of your fam.
Yes, thank you for that. And also, let's just give a little backstory. How did we first meet? How did we first connect? Because I think that's super perfect, serendipitous.
Well, I was actually in a hunt to find people like myself, because it was very difficult for me to find people that really connected and that I felt. And I saw Ashley's Instagram, and all of a sudden my eyes fucking beamed. I could feel her, and I was like, whoa, almost intimidated, oh my God, who is this incredible being? I need to reach out to this person. And yeah, I messaged her and I was like, can we please do some kind of exchange? I just need to know you. And yeah, it's been fire. Immediately, the call was just we went way longer than we thought and talked about amazing things. It's just so incredible to have an awesome partner in crime. And Ashley's also been, just very supportive of me in a lot of beautiful ways, and I've been very supportive of her, and it's just amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. And that's exactly how it is too, is right. We became friends online, and then you had this, I had felt the exact same way. I was like, who is this magnificent being? I'm not sure if she's even from this planet, because you're like a star, Then we start connecting, and you guys know that, yes, I'm a psychic and I'm specialized in doing healing work and releasing the trapped energy in our space. And then I met Alicia, and I also do a lot of the business. So it's balancing the masculine and the feminine. And I met Alicia, and she's on an entirely new level. My mind was blown. I am so fascinated by her. And so it's so much more than a friendship, because we teach each other in these beautiful ways. But I'm fascinated with not only your brain, your heart, your spirit, and what you know, Alicia, but your experience and your testimonials and your commitment to your practice. She goes deeper than anyone that I have ever met in my entire life. Truly and honestly, I've actually worked with two of the top psychics in the world, and I've gone to school at the Psychic Institute. I know a lot about this stuff. And then I met Alicia, and it's a whole new level. And again, with that beautiful intro, I am still, you blow me away, my sweet friend. And I'm so honored to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. You too.
So let's talk a little bit about how did you even come to be the happiness coach? That's a really loaded question, I know.
No, it's a good one. It's cool. Well, I first started with Shiatsu. Both my parents are very spiritually inclined. My dad used to do some really hardcore, amazing Buddhism practices and Vipassana and all of that. And my mom, talks to plants and fairies and everything. So I had a lot of that in my life. And so I had a good intro, let's say that.
Yeah.
And, instead of grounding me, my mom would be like, go breathe colors by that tree. I'd be like, oh man, okay.
That's so amazing. That's so
yeah.
good.
So I had a lot of that. So I was positively inclined to do that. And when I finished school, high school, I decided I wanted to help people. And I really loved doing massage. So I was like, cool, I'll do Shiatsu. That'll be great. And while I was in it, I had a few incredible experiences where all of a sudden I was able to breathe colors and actually do that.
Yeah.
And actually experience a lot of these things that I'd been told about my whole life. My dad had told me about ghosts and aliens and all these different experiences. And now I was able to start to have my own stories. Now, when I kind of came into that world of things, I realized that my clients were kind of coming back every week with the same problems. I'd be massaging them and they'd be like, oh, I feel so good. And they come back next week and be like, I feel like shit again. And so I was constantly, they were becoming codependent, and I felt like there was something wrong with that. I wanted people to have their own power and to actually overcome the problems that they were going through. So my journey to find that is how I figured this happiness coaching out. I wanted to learn Reiki because I was like, okay, maybe that'll fill the gap. And so I started with Reiki. I became a Reiki master, started teaching. And during this whole process, I ended up getting a sexual abuse situation happen. And the person damaged my knee, so I couldn't walk for a year and a half. And so during that time, sometimes you need like a big kick in the ass to grow, right? Now I've decided that I don't like to work that way anymore, but at the time that was the only way I knew. So I actually learned to live in my dreams. So I spent more than half of my time sleeping, astral traveling. I could, fly on command. I could do anything. And in that space, I also astral traveled a lot to different dimensions and like encountering different beings and learning how to speak light language and communicate with anything I came across, which was extremely helpful because when I came back to reality, I would be like, oh yeah, there's like a ghost in the room. And I happened to live with two very clairvoyant roommates. And they're like, oh yeah, I know he was in the backyard earlier. I'd be like, oh, what's that orb of light? And they'd be like, oh yeah, that's a fairy. I was like, what? So I was able to like ping off of somebody and kind of craft this reality for myself. And eventually my mom brought me to this workshop and I saw my first angel. And I was like, whoa, this is some next level beauty. Like it felt like a warm hug that just emanated all the way through me, this blue white light. It was gorgeous. And I was like, okay, how do I communicate with angels now? So I asked one of my friends who had told me about it before and I like brushed him off, But now that I'd actually experienced it, I'm like, okay, this is real. And he brought Archangel Michael in and I was like, saw him again and I was like, wow, amazing. So I spent that whole day walking around with Archangel Michael. First it was just like right, left, like porridge, like what, telling me different things to eat, where to go, who to talk to, what to say. And I was just kind of like playing with that. It was like, cool, like let's play with being guided. And then like 3 months later, it became full sentences, jokes, messing with me. And I spent my last like 10 years working with angels. And so in my sessions with clients, I would be working on them and, Archangel Michael would be like, oh, add this color here, do this thing here, ask them this, tell them that. And also in my own practices, they would do the same, help me evolve, help me grow. And every time it did that, I was like, oh yeah, add new tool to the tool belt. There we go. I can use that again. And I didn't realize it was a complete system. So everything that I was being shown and taught by Archangel Michael was actually like a perfect way of healing, like completing your karma. So really going through, in a fully empowered way, looking through your spirit, looking through yourself, finding whatever blocks, beliefs, karma is stuck in the body. If there's any negative magic that's been imposed or created by yourself to protect yourself, and really healing that, removing that from the body and getting clear, then I was being taught how to build your happiness. So how to form a new personality, a new way of being, and then how to manifest what you want. So once you're in that light place, then there's no fears, worries, anything blocking you from those goals. So you can really get super clear on what you want. And, your logic says, I want X, Y, Z. And then, the universe is like, oh, well, like it actually, there's like some alphabet you don't even know about. And it's going to fill in this blank here. Here you go. Why don't you get the full picture? And these are all the micro details of what you need to have that, like the best life that you can imagine. And then you choose it and you start walking on it. And it's like amazing. A lot of these things show up within like 3 weeks. It's pretty incredible.
I love that.
So that was a long spiel, but
it's beautiful. And it goes into this beautiful point. What I've always thought about is like, you guys know my daughter is 4.5, and like kids, if you see any child, they're so free and Like they love to be naked and they love everyone. They're just full of light. And then what happens is we end up like buying these stories, or like you said, like some of the darker magic that'll get stuck, or the karma. All of these things will kind of be like rocks in the backpack. And then by the time we're adults, people are walking over hunched like this and exhausted, and they keep going back to the, get the massage, and they're like, life still sucks. And so I love that what you do is like having that psychic eye and psychic ability is to be able to like evaluate and take the rocks out of the backpack energetically. And as you guys can tell, I loved that story. I was like hanging on every word, and your entire like history and how you became a coach, and realizing that. I hope that you guys got a lot out of that too. It's not just, oh, Alicia got a certification and now she's a coach. Like she's lived this and breathed this, has breathed this.
Breathed this.
She lives and breathes this, a part of like who she is in her DNA. And to me, I think like that is a highly qualified practitioner. So I'm like blown away. I'm fangirling right now. I know.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny too, because like it's funny that you use that metaphor too. And like, maybe that's because we did a little bit of this work ourselves, but it literally is like rocks out of a backpack, because karma actually, like the interesting thing about this work is it's all about karma, and karma is kind of like a little black stone literally in your aura. And the second you create that really shitty belief of like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy of love, or I can't, or I'm a bad person, or whatever that limit is, or that belief is, that actually gets stored as a little black ball of karma, which creates a hole, an indent in the aura. And so say I add that here, right, that karmic stone gets stuck here, then the belief stays. And then if I put it in my life and I project like, this is how life is going to be, the universe responds. It's like, here you go. Yeah, you're not worthy of love. Okay, here's another situation to like, make that extra true. And then you're like, oh yeah, it's definitely true. It's happened again, and then you add another memory on, and then you put out there's definitely true. And then the universe is like, oh yeah, you like that? Okay, here you go. And you get it again. And then you just keep adding all these shitty memories, and you end up looping. That's why you can end up in those like patterns of the same type of partner every time, or the same type of situation with work all the time, and you end up in these loops, not just within your mind but also within your life. So yeah, it's really interesting, because literally you actually go back to the moment you decide it and have created the karma, and then change it from there and copy paste it all the way through, so that it actually completely clears, which is pretty awesome. Because a lot of people will, when you're looking at beliefs, usually you're going to see whatever's the most prevalent, like the most intense one. So you see, oh yeah, like that memory when I was like bullied when I was like 17 by that, that kid in my class, right? But you don't realize it actually started when you were like 2 or 3. And when you don't realize like even that situation and that karmic repercussion is maybe because of that situation when you were 2 or 3. And yeah, so it's really amazing when you can take that power into your hands and go, okay, I'm not letting that happen anymore.
Yeah, and that's huge. This goes beyond, if you guys are like catching on to this goes beyond, like therapy is great. That's amazing. Therapy and counseling and all the options that we have for self-healing. But this is what no one's talking about, unless you're like in our community and you're like going to sound baths and meditating regularly. And that's what I love about what we do, and specifically with you, Alicia, because you have so much knowledge in this. You guys definitely stay tuned, because we're going to talk about Alicia's practice and what that looks like to work with her, but also testimonials, because I'm going to be the first one to like share my testimonial with her, because I'm so grateful. Like my life has really been changed through our sessions and what I have learned in that. So we'll use that to segue into, Alicia, obviously you are a phenomenal coach. Like I 100% highly, highly endorse you. And I support anyone who is curious to like hop on a call with her. Absolutely. What does it look like to work with you?
So usually I do programs. So I used to do one-on-one, like one-off sessions. And now I'm doing one-on-one programs. But I'm also going to start doing a group class. I was hoping to start on the 27th. I may end up pushing it a little bit later, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. But yeah, so the program, the happiness program, there's 2 versions of it. The 16-week is if you have a lot of past stuff to deal with, say you have a lot of like karmic loops, like fears, beliefs, worries, stuff from your childhood, traumas that you really want to like move through. I spend a larger chunk on that, and then building the happiness, and then manifestation. Or if you want to do a shortened version, I also do a 9-week program, which is pretty equally, clearing yourself out, building happiness, manifestation. And they both work pretty effectively. Like everybody usually within the third week is manifesting what they want already, or very, very closely like on that path, really feeling it. Yeah, and it's pretty incredible. So it's not just about the manifestation, but also their anxiety's gone or their depression is gone. So yeah, that's usually the main thing. 75 minutes, like every week on a video call.
Yeah, and I love what you're sharing, because manifestation comes when we clear the blocks to the abundance, right? Like we don't create abundance, we create blocks to the abundance. And just like the grass, just like reaches up to the heavens and knows that the water is going to come, and the trees and the birds and the butterflies, they're not worrying, they're not in that space of lack. And they just like know, and they have that freedom. There's so much abundance all around us, but we have, just like you were talking about, like the little karmic, like black stones, we have these belief systems about what is available to us. And so I love your step-by-step process, because once you clear those blocks, then you're able to manifest very quickly and easily without, you're like, oh, wow. And again, and again. That's how you do it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It's so good. So let's talk, unless you wanted to add anything else to that.
I think testimonials could even be cool, like, because that's like a good segue into like this one that was really amazing that happened recently.
Yeah.
One of my clients was feeling some really big blocks around her creativity and her path with her career, and was feeling kind of like super lost and like stagnant and stuck. And with her, like we literally only did one session, which is kind of amazing. She did one of the workshops. I do teach manifestation workshops here and there. And she did one of the workshops with me, and literally 3 days later, she manifested her twin flame. Like she wrote a list of like exactly what kind of partner she wanted, exactly what kind of career she wanted. She met her twin flame, who is doing the exact type of career that she wants and is getting her on board. She's literally coming to Tulum to do it. And I'm in Tulum now, so that's pretty amazing. So manifested her twin flame that has her dream job, coming next week to do it. And she also, like, somebody reached out from exactly the dream job that she saw in her vision. And like the funny thing is, the vision that she saw, like she didn't know what she was supposed to do. She was doing graphic design, graphic art, and then she saw in her vision like helping Mayans and like helping sell their products and helping, with her twin flame, helping provide goods and keep the minds safe and healthy. So that was what she saw in her vision, and literally 3 days later, like everything like happened. So that's super cool.
Releasing the blocks. Yeah,
exactly. And like
looking for you too.
Yeah. And like also this kind of work, I've been doing it for like so long. Like I have some success stories that are older that are like just showing up in amazing ways. So one of my clients from 6 years ago, 3 weeks after we did the partner manifestation, he manifested his, like this woman that he started dating. 4 months later, he was like, I think I'm going to marry her. 6 months later, he proposed, they got engaged, they got married a year later. And it's been 6 years, and his wife just was trying to have their first baby. And she was at the doctors, and the doctors were saying, no, you can't like give birth. It's not going to work. She'd been trying to conceive for that long. And he's like, Alicia, like I gotta bring her to you. I want to see if you can help. And we ended up taking her through a past life. She ended up seeing like that she actually died within childbirth, and we healed it and healed her womb and cleared everything out, and she conceived that week, which is super amazing.
Wow.
So yeah. So that's pretty powerful. So yeah, that's like, and then in that same month, like 5 of my clients all got their dream job, like literally beyond their dream job. Like they never thought, like one of mine was literally just handed like the like what's the like junior vice president like of the company, and he was like a low worker, and he was literally saying like, if I don't get this, I'm going to leave this company. Like, not even that. He's like, if I don't get any kind of promotion, I'm going to leave the company. And like, literally got like bumped like a bunch higher.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing. Right?
It is. And what's showing up for me as you're saying this, I feel like a lot of us, and, you know, for you guys in the audience too, we can have this feeling of like, what is wrong with me? You know, if I can't have a baby, or if I'm not getting the job, or if I'm not finding a partner, we can look inward and be like, what's wrong with me? It's wrong with me. But I hope what you're getting from this is like, nothing is wrong with you. There are blocks in the way. It's like, if there's a door, you just like walk into the door and you're like, what's wrong with me? It's like, you just gotta open it. There's just something there that has to be released. And
and maybe you don't know where the key is yet.
Right.
You don't know where the key is yet. Somebody's gotta be like, oh yeah, it's in there. Like, you know.
That's all that it is. And I want you guys to have that mindset. It's just such beautiful stories of like, nothing is wrong with you. Like, whatever that desire is on your heart, it is meant for you. And know that it can be. And there might just be one small tweak. And maybe that's deeper with karma or a past life or something. But like, if you want it, it's yours. And we are here as resources to support you in that.
Yeah. I like to explain it like a maze. You know, when you're in a maze and you like, you know, those old like movies like Labyrinth or whatever, where it's a maze, but you go in circles. Yeah. And you're like, oh no, not another dead end. But then you're like, oh wait, I'm back at the weird fountain again. And then, you know, it's kind of like that. And then you kind of like learn how to, you know, tear the hedges down. But like before that, you kind of get like this big zoom out. So it's almost as if like a bird kind of picks you up out of the maze and you can see the whole picture. And then you go, oh, right, I got to go this way. And like, oh, I got to take down that wall and that wall and that wall. And then I'll get there, like the easiest path. And that's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, it's so good. And you guys, I got to share my testimonial. I'm pretty sure I shared the full testimonial in the video that I will link below about who is my healer. But I'll give you the spark notes of it, is that I have had intestinal issues. A lot of trauma, by the way, gets stored in your intestines. It's like the clenching down, like the stress and the anxiety. And so even in my own work, it's sometimes easier just like giving yourself a massage. You can do it, but it's way better if someone else does it, which is how Alicia and I have been like great partners. But even for me doing my own work, I was like, man, I'm having the hardest time figuring out what's going on with my intestines. I was in and out of the hospital. And I had an appointment with a GI specialist and with another doctor. And I was like, I might have to have surgery. I don't know what's going on. So Alicia's like, well, how about we take a look? And I also love that, Alicia, you just always hop right in. You jump right in. You're like, may I? And I'm like, yes, please. You know, like she's so confident. You never ever skip a beat, which like gives me confidence too of like, yeah, it gets to be that easy too, which I love. And so I laid down on the bed, and she's virtual. Like I'm in Reno, Nevada, and were you in Tulum or Toronto then?
I'm in Tulum now, yeah.
Tulum now, yeah. So wherever it is, you know, you guys can be all over the world and still get an amazing session from her. And she guided me through this amazing past life, and it was traumatic. If you guys want to hear this whole story, you got to go and watch the video below. But one of the things that I realized is there was a belief system that was popping up, and that belief system was, my best is never enough. And so I was keeping that trauma in my intestines, and it was projecting into my life, my business, my relationships, that my best is never enough. No matter how hard I try, it's never enough. And I was like, where is this coming from? How do I delete it? And so we went into this past life, and she walked me through how to release it. And it was so profound. Like everything is still really crystal clear in my mind. Also, because I keep talking about it, because I'm like, this is the coolest thing. And anyways, after that session, my body, I feel so, so good. This is like the healthiest that I have ever felt. I was able to cancel my appointment with my GI specialist and with the doctor. I haven't had any issues. And that was earlier this year. And now I don't remember when that was, but close to the beginning of the year, because that's when I was in the hospital. And then now it's, you know, in a few weeks, it's going to be December. So I've gone all year, no issues. I feel the best and the healthiest, and my intestines are really, really happy. And it was from one experience, really traumatic experience that I had in a past life that I had to release in order for me to be free of that in the present. And like, I knew the power of this because I experienced it with my clients, but it was so different having someone else guide me through it in that way. And it's life-changing. Like it saved me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from getting surgery, from other doctor's appointments. So I'm just so grateful for you, friend.
Yeah, of course.
Just what I do, right? I'm sure you hear things like this all the time.
Yeah, so, it's really interesting too, just because, just a little bit about past lives, because I think there's like a stigma around it. A lot of people that do past life regression, they will either tell you the past life, which takes the power out of your hands from actually experiencing it, if you ever experience it, because you're going to like take all the imagery that you created in your mind and copy paste it on those experiences. But also it's like a lot of past life regressionists, when it's the way it's traditionally taught, is they take you into it and then they take you out of it. Mm-hmm. It's like it's really just like it's re-traumatizing. The way that most people do it is actually re-traumatizing, because you go into it, you see it, and then all of a sudden you're left with that trauma and it's back again. You have to deal with it here, but they don't usually help you deal with it here. So what's really unique about what I do is, because I was taught this method by working with angels, it's very, very clear, like front to end, like really, even though you're seeing intense things, you feel super amazing as it leaves. So you kind of like, first you'll usually see, you know, your feet are different. You're like, oh, I look kind of different. And then you'll start seeing the rest of the space, and like the last day before you pass, usually before you die, whatever beliefs or traumas are there. And then you go into that and you find like a relaxed space in that death. So instead of being in panic, you allow yourself to feel safe, feel comfortable with the next stage, and then see whatever belief was there and change it. As well as, you know, we also go through the body and give it actual proper burial, because sometimes that didn't happen in the other lifetimes. Mm-hmm. You know, imagining planting flowers, and I sing a usually like beautiful requiem. So I do channeled singing, and I can tap into some really incredible spaces. So sometimes, say the person was in some tribe that doesn't exist anymore and the whole tribe was wiped out, maybe I'll be singing songs from that and like a language that doesn't even exist anymore. Or, you know, and it's just so gorgeous sometimes, you know, like I'll be singing some pagan song or something like from Egypt, or, you know, it's really beautiful. And, you know, most people are like crying, not because the experience is traumatic, but because the sound is so like, they're like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. So that's really fun. And then usually that helps split the spirit. So it'll either reincarnate or it'll be like deleted if it's really unhealthy. And then you also regrow your body. So whatever was damaged, you also imagine new tissue growing in all those areas. Like I had a past life that one of my students, I teach as well. I've trained 330-ish students. We'll say 333 for fun. But yeah, so one of my students took me through this past life, and I was this Native woman, and you know they killed all my friends, and they brought me to this brothel, and the owner got me pregnant. And so I tried to escape because I knew he would kill the baby. And he came out after me and cut off my legs. So I couldn't feel my legs almost all of my life. Always like pins and needles, numb, like weird feeling my whole life. And I was taken through this past life by one of my students because she didn't have somebody to practice on that day. And so I ended up clearing it out, and I healed and put new tissue into my legs. And all of a sudden I could feel my legs for the first time in my life. Like really feel them and actually ground properly for the first time. And it was amazing. Like this happened when I must have been like 24, you know, and I'm 30 now. So I'm actually 31 soon. No. Years. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. So it's kind of amazing how your body can heal too from it. Like I've had people with chronic back pain their whole life, and you pull a samurai sword out of their back and all of a sudden they can feel release, and they don't have the pain anymore. So yeah, it's pretty incredible that way too.
It is. And, you know, I shared in the beginning of this, like how you're able to help people in miraculous ways. And that's really what this is. Some of you guys might be listening to this and being like, what the heck just happened. And the other half of you are like, oh my gosh, this sounds so amazing. I've experienced something like this before. I've heard a similar story. And so what I will say to combine both of those perspectives is like, you've got to try it, because it's something that doesn't always make sense. But when it does, it does. And it's so transformative. And the other thing I want to mention is about your angelic singing, because you're like, people are crying, not out of like sadness, but out of the sound is so beautiful. It is. You guys go to find Alicia Fricker on Instagram. You can find her on Facebook too. Again, all of her information will be below. But if you check out her singing videos, like they are so stunning. Like if you guys, I know we're going to talk about the long-term vision and retreat options and like things like the big vision for the future. But like you have sang at retreats, correct?
Yeah, so I've done some amazing workshops here in Tulum last year. There's this woman who does, if you know of the alchemy bowls, they're crystal singing bowls made out of like just pure amethyst or like pure, like different actual crystals. They're amazing. They're like $800 each. They're phenomenal. So we did this big performance with like 30 of them or something. And this other sound healer that sings light language purely from Australia. So we did this like epic, like amazing show. And actually there's another sound healer in Tulum who's also very famous. She travels from here in Ibiza, and she was doing a performance and she was my roommate. And so, I was dancing and she called me up on stage and we did this one song together, and every single person in the audience was bawling. And these are like old men in suits. Like it was amazing. It was incredible. Like 30 people all crying. So
a connection.
Yeah, it can be very beautiful.
So let's segue that into, what is your long-term vision? You have all of these extrasensory intuitive gifts, angelic channeling of light song. I don't know what it is. Different languages. Like, you guys, seriously, you have to check it out. I'll see if I can tag one of the videos below, because it'll blow your mind. I think that's one of the, I just can't say enough about it. Clearly, I hope you can tell by my reaction. Go check it out right now when this video is over. But you do all of those things. What is your long-term vision of sharing this with the masses?
Well, it's one of these things where, as we all know, it's almost, even for me, hard to sometimes step into that power and go, yes, I can absolutely do this. But I know what I would like. So obviously, I love doing one-on-one sessions. I really, really like having these interpersonal relationships with people where I can really feel them, really help them grow, really see their expansion and connect deeply. And, I gained so many new best friends. Like, it's incredible. So I really love doing this. But I also am moving towards doing more group programs. And I'm also going to be working with, hopefully, somebody like, I was thinking possibly Ashley. I have another few amazing healers on like a more massive kind of group class with more people. I was thinking like in the next year, I'd like to be doing maybe 50 people on a group call together, something really powerful where, we're all sharing our gifts and really making sure that like everybody is held in this bubble of amazing growth and warmth and light. So that is something that I'm working towards. And I'm also training some others to help me on like possibly a smaller program as well. They are amazing people. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm looking forward to doing a retreat in, I'm assuming March. I'm still trying to lock down the dates. I have two ones that I'm considering. One is definitely more on the like psychic, ego death, deep healing, purging, all sober. But big, transformative, beautiful experience. I'm hoping to do that in Tulum in March. And I also was considering doing one for models. I've been talking to somebody who is a fashion photographer, and she also teaches astrology. So we're considering possibly merging. Also, if, I'm hoping that Ashley does both of these with us, but we'll see what ends up colliding and happening and flows. So that is one thing I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to be teaching workshops at Nomade in Tulum. So there's a gratitude tent that they do. So I'm going to be hosting sound healing. I'm going to be doing manifestation workshops, different types of meditation to help you ground and connect to the universe properly, how to let go of different parts of your ego. So I'm going to be teaching workshops there. I'm most likely going to be doing some sound healing at Holistica in Tulum as well. And I think in the long term, I would love to be, I can imagine myself like on a stage doing like incredible sound healing, singing, and like shifting people and taking them through meditations, but then like really going through like all of their auras, clearing them all out, and doing some like really powerful angelic work. So that's what I'm heading towards.
I love that. And I see that for you too. I really do. The retreat, you have all of these gifts, and I'm so excited for when this especially with like angelic singing too. I'm like, wow, that is such a gift that can transform lives. And not many people have that ability. So good. We've had such a great conversation today, and we've opened up new ideas for people to explore. So how do they, if someone wants to work with you, or they are curious about your retreats or workshops or anything that's coming up in your space and within your company, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Instagram is the easiest, or you can message me through my website. I'm currently in like a bit of a transformation of my website, so it's mostly just the basics right now. Instagram has much more information. Every post that I write has like a lot of like little tidbits and tips and understandings of, how we all function and about yourself. So that's pretty great too. And if you'd like to message me on Instagram, and we can figure out a time to chat. And I do like, obviously like free 15-minute calls to just like, clarity call, kind of tap in, see where you're at, what you want to achieve, what you love to know, and how you want to grow. And I also do 30-minute test sessions if you're like, this all sounds great, I totally want to move forward with this, but I just want to make sure that this can like work over a phone, just so that you feel like extra comfy and like amazing going into it. And like Ashley was saying, like, in our first test session, like still amazing things came through, big transformations that really, really helped her. So that's kind of how it works too. So you might, even if, it's just that one session, it'll still be beautiful. So, yeah.
And I even think about like, if we can be, you're in Tulum, I'm in Nevada, right? And we could be talking right now with an actual like camera. If this can happen, we certainly can be, doing healings distance, which I think is amazing. Like anything is possible. I'm like, if you don't question a camera, how a camera works, or like a recording, but you're going to question energy work. It's all about intention.
Yeah. And also with Reiki level 2, this natural, like you actually learn how to do distance healing, right? And then as a Reiki master, it just amps that up to the next level. So, I'm working on somebody and they're like, oh my God, something's being taken out of my chest. I'm like, yeah, I just pulled that out. That's pretty normal. That's standard. So, yeah.
So beautiful. And you guys are in good hands. Feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions, of course. And so to wrap this up, Alicia, do you have any final words of wisdom that you would like to share to help people elevate their lives from mediocre to magical?
Don't question that you have the answers.
Ooh.
The answers are inside of you, but you need to remove the stuff that's all the fears, all the bullshit, so that you can actually see the answers, so you can find your own voice, because that inner voice is the only thing that matters to you. And a lot of us believe that, what everybody else says is super important, or like what, a lot of people feel that as their purpose, they need to help others, they need to give, and they overgive, and they aren't actually focused on themselves. So I think the most important tidbit that I can give is try making your purpose your happiness. Because once you're happy and once you're full, then you can give. Then you have that energy to give to people. If you're interested in this spiritual world, you're most likely a giver. And and it's really important to make sure that you have what you need and are moving from that place, instead of a feeling of, oh, I need to do this, or I have to do this, or, it's really important to love yourself first.
Yes, and take it straight from the happiness coach. And that is so beautiful to round that up, and to wrap that up, and an affirmation that I've been sharing or saying to myself is going back to the tuning into your inner voice, is that if I don't know the answer right now, something inside me does. And just like knowing that it's always there, and it's like, yes, what blocks need to be removed, what perspective needs to be shifted in order to see clearly. Holy God, creator, source, spirit, whatever you align with, please help me see this clearly. Oh, I almost like made myself cry saying that.
Yeah, asking for guidance is really helpful too. Asking for guidance, but it's about learning how to ask for guidance, and that's something that I teach. So if you ever want to learn that as well, I do one-offs. If that's, you just want like a little bit of knowledge or something, I'd be happy to share that.
Well, I am so honored to have you here as a guest today. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom and your journey and all of the things.
I'm just so happy to see you and be part of this and meet all you lovely people. Sending so much love.
Yes, wonderful. So again, you guys can connect down below. I'll drop all of the information, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Wishing you an amazing day full of all the amazing things. Bye, guys.
Yeah, bye.